that. Zas not that sate. And then you're crazy. Not this. Not the nitsat. Not the nitsat. You're crazy. Crazy snow. Zas. Not das. Zos. Not das sate. Zos not das sate. Siskas. All right. So Owala.
Owana.
Owana. Siskas. Let me just pull up the PowerPoint here. Oops. There we go. Sorry, just I'll do this again. Screen two. Okay, does everybody see that? See this,
Good
guys?
job. Yes.
So do the Tsúut'ínà prayer. I got the laser pointer out, so hopefully that helps. We did send a recording out to everybody. So hopefully that helps in terms of reciting the prayer. For today, we'll practice the prayer. I'll say it, and then I'll give time for everybody else to say it. You don't have to have your microphone on, but if you want to, that's totally fine as well. Voila.
Owana.
Owana.
Tateklehe. Ayahonata. Niskagulaga. Sinajuna. Ayena a. Sistedinina. Gujatina isklingula. Nehiniska. Oa. Nehigunaha. Natsidgula. Hat ayinesen. Hat anitsid iskad. Siiskas. Siiskas. And to review the Tsúut'ínà sounds. This is in your, well, I did send it in the word bank. It is in the word bank. I'm also be sending the PowerPoint out. I just had to make a couple of fixes. There's some major fixes that I had to make yesterday and today, but I'll be sending it out after class today. So everyone can have it for the holiday, the Tsúut'ínà holiday that we have. But we'll get right into the vowels, so everyone can repeat after me. A, E, O, U. Plain. Da, de, do, do. Gla, gle, glo, glue. Za, ze, zo, zu. Ja, je, jo, ju. Ga, ge, go, gu. A, te, ta, tu. Excuse me, sorry, I did that wrong. Ta, te, to, tu. Kla, kle, klo, clue. Ta, te, to, tu. Cha, che, cho, chu. Ka, ke, ko, ku. Ejected. Breaking the T's. A, e, o, u. A, e, o, u. A, e, o, tu. A, e, o, tu. A, e, o, u. Nasals. Ma, me, mo, mu. Na, ne, no, nu. Voiced. La, le, lo, lu. Za, ze, zo, zu. Ya, ye, yo, you. La, e, o, u. Ja, je, jo, ju. Unvoiced. Chla, chle, chlo, flu. Sa, se, so, su. Sha, she, sho, shu. Ha, he, ho, hu. Ha, he, ho, hu. See you guys. So we'll get into the review of the emotions, feelings. Real quick, in Tsúut'ínà, how do you say, how are you?
Danit,
Danit ara, kajaka, siskas. Siskas. Sorry, excuse me. So danit ara, yeskas, tia kujaka. Da or this is actually a question I haven't taught yet, and I want to start using it more. But in Tsúut'ínà, or in language learning in general, they always try and say to keep it in the language as much as possible. So even asking the question, it was just really weird the first time I had to ask for this translation. How do you say? So the word is the way it works in Tsúut'ínà, how do you say is really weird. How do you say, how do you say? The first time I ever had to ask it. But after that, I started asking the question in Tsúut'ínà. Da I am not good. Das chinisha. So I'm going to ask a question now. Da I am not good. Das chinisha. Does anyone know?
I am not good. That's shit.
So true up. So the question means, how do you say? And I want to ask the question. How do you say this? Da I am not good. Das chinisha. How do you say I am not good in Tsúut'ínà?
Duguja Anista.
Duguja Anista.
Duguja Anista.
Duguja Anista. Tiakujaka Patadana.
I am not good.
Da
Achinisha.
Achinisha.
I am not good.
I am not good. Does it work both ways?
Works both ways.
So I can use both ways?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna keep it using,
Yep. That's
okay,
okay
see you guys.
for your information.
See you guys. Yes, Carlin.
Sorry. I used to just say daguja.
Daguja?
Yeah, when I would get like when I wasn't feeling good, I would just say daguja, like
Oh,
not good.
duguja. Duguja.
Duguja. So it's the
Du-
same thing, right?
Uh,
Okay.
Daguja or duguja?
No, like for what you're highlighting there, the duguja anista,
Duguja anista.
the same thing, right?
Yes, you can use
Okay.
duguja or duguja anista or dugujanista. There's 3 ways you can say that, but yes, you can just say duguja.
Duguja.
See you
Ah.
guys.
Jacka. All right, so I ask the question again. I am tired. Das Chinisha. So you know how to say it? Tsúut'ínà?
Is das Jack?
Is das check. See you guys, Branson. I am hungry. Das Chinisha.
Tsúut'ínà zit.
Gujaka. Sidzana. I am sick. Das Chinisha.
Sagutala.
Sagudala. Tiakuja. I am really good. I am very good. Das Chinisha.
Guja anasta.
Gujaka. Yes, guys. I am mad. Das Chinisha.
Izadase.
Desid.
Desid.
Gujaka. Desid. Tiakuja. Yes, guys. I am scared. Das Chinisha. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but try your best.
Atsidinnisne.
Atsidinnisne. Yes, guys, Carlin. Tiakujaka. I am happy. Das Chinisha.
Guanaskle.
Gweniskle. Tiakuja, Bronson. I am good. Das Chinisha.
Guja anista.
Uja honest. Tiakuja. I am sad. Das Chinisha.
Nienisid.
Nienisid. Yes, guys. Tiakuja. So we'll get into the conversation routine. Danita will be your first question. Then you respond. So you can respond any way that you want. You can use as much feelings as you want. If you're real emotional today, you can use all the feelings. What about you? Das Chinisha.
Niniga.
Niniga. Gajaka. So always remember that Niniga is what about you? So they're basically asking you the same question that you asked, and you will respond the same way they did. So with the feelings, you can say as much feelings as you want. if you do want to use more than one feeling, does anyone know the word for and? And. That's chinisha. I might be able to put in the chat.
Ua.
Owa. Jessica, are you able to put that in the chat? Oh, here we go. I got it. Owa. So, if you do want to use more than one feeling, you can say gujanista owa. Das chin or sorry, guanis kle. So gujanista owa guanis kle. So that's if you want to use more than one feeling. We encourage you to. Oh, sorry. And then the second question, what is your name? Das chinisha. Does anyone know how to say what is your name?
Nize dita ata.
Gujaka. Nize dit a at a. And then you would respond, Size. But for myself, I would say Size ben at a. And then again, Niniga. Don't forget to say Niniga. And they would respond, Size Bob at a. And then how do we end the conversation? Does anyone know?
See you, Gus.
Siiskas. Siiskas, Sherry. Cheryl. Sorry. Sorry.
It's-
Sorry. Siiskas. There's also a couple other ways you can say Naniasane. And you can also say Yiskas is another one. So with that being said, we'll break out into our breakout rooms. But before we do that, me and Jessica will do a demonstration on how the conversation will go. Oh, voila, Jessica.
Owana.
Danit ara.
Gujanista oa estas job ninega.
Gujanista oa guanis kle. Nize de a at a.
Size Jessica what spot Whitney at ninega.
Size ben at a. Siiskas.
Siskas naniasame.
Siiskas. Naniasane, Jessica. Yiskas. All right, so before we go into breakout rooms, does anyone have any questions?
Are we doing 2 breakout rooms again?
Yeah, we'll do 2 breakout rooms. It's me and Ralph in the Elders Lounge today.
Okay.
So, yes, 2 breakout rooms. Oh, let me stop sharing here real quick. Sorry. I hope everyone's safe up north, up west. Oh yeah, Jessica's in BC. So Jessica, forgot to update you. There's been a real big snowstorm last night.
I
There's like
saw
this much of snow.
I know I saw I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I live out here.
Is it springtime over there?
Oh yeah, like everything's like all the leaves are blooming and all the flowers and yeah, it's kind of cold, but yeah, not too bad. Brother.
Sounds awesome.
It's chilly.
Gushai.
Not shy yet. Shy.
Gushai. Not Shaya.
Gushai.
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 Gushai. That's chilly. Gushai.
Gushai. Sorry, I'm just trying to do math in my head and okay.
That's
hang on.
okay. That's okay. 17.
Give me 1 more minute.
7, 8.
Yeah. Okay. And then okay. Hopefully I got that right. Okay. Chua.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wana.
Jenna, good to go. I'm just gonna pull up the PowerPoint for you guys to look at. Chua. Okay, sorry guys. Almost ready. Okay, voila.
Wana.
All right. Need done. Oh, nope, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, okay, well,
I think it might be slide 6.
that's only the, what is your name? It's not the,
I think it might be good practice for us to try kind of go off memorization a little.
all right, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, we done. Done it, Ada.
Guja anesta owa sejana zud ninika danit ada.
Oh, Sinaja, Sidzana, Zud, Oa, Istas, Jog. Are we supposed to do the name part too?
Ah,
Okay, Nize did
size nitan crowchild ada ninika.
Nize, Jessica, one spot, Whitney, See you guys.
Discuss.
All right.
Bronson danit ada.
Janista. Ninika.
Gujanista owa nize dit ada.
Size Bronson at the Ninika.
Size nitan crowchild ada. Discuss.
Oh. Carolyn. Carlin. Janita.
I think Carlin's in the other group.
No,
Oh,
no, I'm here. I'm here.
oh, sorry. Geez, my bad.
It's okay. I messaged in the chat. I said I'm not in the elders lounge today because my whole department's sick.
Okay.
Sorry.
Janitada.
Niinisid. Ninika.
Janista. Anizid Taata.
Size Carlin Ata. Ninika.
Size Bronson at the Siaskas. Naniatsana.
Sieskas Naniestsane. Sorry, I'm trying to see who's all in our group. Danit Ada Frida. She's having her power outages, hey?
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, Nize Dita Ata.
Hi Frida. So we're gonna, I'm not able to find the one slide with the Ganit Ara question. So we're starting off with that and then moving into the what is your name? Yeah, sorry, we're just kind of like practicing without like having the slides in front of us for that part.
Oh, it could be difficult for me. Okay, so I say danitata, da.
Carlin actually asks you that and then you respond with Guja Nista or Guja Anista.
Okay, all right. Go.
Danit ada, Frida.
Guja anis esta.
And then Niniga.
Niniga.
Estasha. Neze dita ata.
Sizafrida ata. Niniga.
Size Carlin ata. Sieskas Aniestane.
Yes, good.
Gajaka. Frida, Midiskid, Fayan. Did you want to ask Fayan?
Okay. Danitada.
Guja Anasta Ua Istashak. Ninaga.
Nize dita ata. Niniga.
Sizefan Ata Ninaga.
Sizafrida ata. See, yeah, that.
Gajaka. Fayan, Midiskid, T.
Danitarati.
Guja Anesta Size T Krochop Ninika.
Sizefan Ata Ninaga.
Guja Size T Krochop at Sieskas.
Gajaka. T. Midiskid. Janelle, are you there or are you just listening in?
I'm here.
Okay. T. Midiskid, Janelle.
Oh, Danit Arad Janelle.
Guja Anist Niniga Danit ada.
Size T Krochop at Ninika.
Size Janelle Crane Starlight at Niniga Nizidita at
Guja Sieskas.
Sieskas.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute there for a second. I thought I wasn't. Janelle, Midiskid, Courtney.
Courtney Danit ada.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey. We got no power up here. And my phone is down to 5%. So I'm gonna see how long I can last in class.
Okay. If you want, we can
Go ahead.
pass you for now, so you can just say, yeah, your battery. Janelle, Midiskid, Callie.
Callie Danit ada.
Guja Anesta.
Niniga.
Niniga. Sorry.
Sinija Guja Anist Owa Nizid Dita at
Sizik Kali Ata.
Ah.
Niniga.
Sizzy, Janelle, Crane, Starlight, Atta.
Gajaka, Sieskas.
Yes.
Callie. Let's see. Oh, Midiskid, Dixie.
Danit ada Dixie.
Guja Anista Niniga.
Istas drug. Nizit Diat Ata.
Sizzy Dixie Ata Niniga.
Sizzy, Kali Ata.
Yes, guys.
Yes, guys.
Jaka. I think that's everyone. Did I miss anyone? Cha? Okay, Dixie, Sidiskid, you ask me.
Jessica Donatara.
Guja Anista or Sidzana Zud. Niniga.
Guja Anista. Owa Mizidita Ata. Mizidita. Did I say that right?
Nizedit
Mizidita Ata.
Gajaka. Sizzy, Jessica, one spot, Whitney, Niniga.
Sizzy Dixie Starlight Ata.
Yes, guys.
Thank you. See you guys.
All right, Gajaka Klata. I will get everyone to join the main room again in a bit. Yeah, sure. Nadani Sunday. Oopsie.
Then it's a good job. Gweniska Dananistele. Oa Klata Tsúut'ínà Yenna. Nas ene. Yes, guys. All right, so we'll be moving into the last part of the language session here. I'm really sorry, Nitan. I totally mistimed that whole thing.
That's okay.
But Nitan will be taking over for this next part of the session until we move into Jessica's part. So see you guys. Good job.
Okay, Zinase Kuja Size Nitan Crowchild Ata. In Saw Mize Aroha Crowchild Ata. Sita Mize Lee Crowchild Ata. Sinajina Tsúut'ínà Owa Crowchild Ata. So for those, I kind of think everyone kind of knows each other, but for those who don't, my name is Nitan Crowchild and I work with the Tsúut'ínà Gunaha. I've been with Gunaha for the past going on 10 years now. So yeah, I'm just going to run the second half of the language portion here. And it's just a build on of what we've already been learning from Ben last week and the start of this week. So I'm just going to go ahead and share screen. All right. Chua. Play from current slide. Okay. So we've already done this with Ben here. So again, the Tsúut'ínà sounds, these are really good to practice and good for everyone to try every day. It helps with our pronunciation with the different words. If you're kind of like a visual learner, like you like to read it, it does really help. It also helps with like the tonal parts of it. So for myself, I need to hear the language opposed to reading the language because I find that I can get my sounds closer when I hear it and I can just kind of replicate exactly how it's being taught to me. So that is the importance of this sheet here. So I'm pretty sure everyone's got a copy. So even when you're at home by yourself, just practice on your own. No harm in doing that. It just kind of helps us with our sounds in the future. Okay, so For myself, for Sinnet, I've worked alongside with children mainly. What I've learned about working alongside children is that I have to really make things simple and easy for them to catch on. Not only children, but also for like beginner learners. For myself, I also like to visually see appealing things, so I like to color code my stuff. So I'm just gonna start here. We've all learned the se, ne, me. So se, I color coded it in big aze in red. So se, anything in red, you will always be talking about me, like yourself or myself. So se here. If you want to take a picture on your phones, you're more than welcome to take a picture of the screen. That way we're not flipping back and forth, or we could just send it out at the end of class, but taking a picture was also beneficial. So se is you're talking about myself or me. Ne, I put in dinish jashe in blue. So ne is always talking about you. So se, me, ne, you. Se is in red, ne is in blue, dinish jashe. Down here we have me. So we went into me. I don't know if it was hikago or last week, but we went into the me, which is him, her, or it. I just pulled this directly from our dictionaries and our word bank. So that's just the way things have been differentiated through the word docs is him, her, or it. And when I say it, I don't mean that in any kind of other way other than talking about something or someone, okay? All right. Okay, so we're gonna go into sinajuna iche. At the top here, we have sinne. So sinne, we just talked about se. So sinne actually just talks about me. So sinne is me. So at the top, you always start with yourself when you're going into sinajuna. You always want to talk about me, who you are first. Okay, and then off to the left here, we have inna. So inna, we've also learned about inna. Inna is mom. Okay, so this family tree, there's a lot more pieces to add into this, but this is just kind of our starting foundation. So sinne, if you don't know who we're talking about, if you look at the tree and you read sinne, you're talking about me. So you're really just talking about yourself. So you want to start identifying yourself, your mom, your dad. Okay, so we have inna for mom. And ita, I think this is pretty well known for people to know who ita is. Would anyone like to just unmute and tell me who is ita?
Father.
Your father or your dad. So we have me, mom, and dad, ina and ita. Okay, so I advise everyone to grab out your phones and take a picture of this slide because it's got a lot of, in my opinion, good information. Again, I have color coded it. If you're not familiar with you know, technology, or like you don't want to take a picture, again, we will send this out at the end of class. Okay, so we've been practicing with my name, your name, his or her name. So again, if we go back to this slide, I color coded se is in red, ne is in blue, me is in green. So I color coded it in here as well. So it's really, you're really able to identify what you're saying and who you're actually talking about. So at the top here, size Nitan at-a. So I'm just saying my name is Nitan at-a. Okay, so size Nitan at-a. If you kind of get mixed up, you go back to your color references, and that's how you'll be able to visually identify. If you're not much of a reader, which I'm not much of a reader of the language either. Like I said, I'm more of, I gotta hear it. Then you can always go back to this picture and reference it that way. Okay, so size, I'm talking about me. Nize, so if I'm talking directly to someone, so let's just say I'm talking directly to Ben. Nize did at sorry, I forgot to add in did there, but nize did at you're talking to someone, and it's not someone who is not in the room with you, it's like directly to someone. Okay, so that's kind of where ni and me kind of differentiate. So nize, I'm talking to someone who's in front of me. Okay, so nize did at so if Ben was well, he's on the screen, but if he was right in front of me, I would just say nizi did ada because I'm talking directly to Ben. Okay, mizi, again, talking of someone else. So in the room here, I have Ellison with me. So I would just say mizi Ellison ada. Her name is Ellison, and that's how I would use mizi. Or if someone wasn't in the room with me and I would wanted to say like, say my mom, I would say sa mizi. So I'm talking about somebody else, okay? Again, color codes just to help identify. Down here, I'm going into kinship. So if I go back to this page, the standalone for mom is ina. That's the standalone. So it just means mom. The standalone for dad is ita. So it just means dad. It doesn't say who's dad. It's just the standalone. So ina and ita are the standalones for mom and dad. Okay, but if we go into here and we get more specific, sa is my mom. So again, it's in the red, talking about yourself. Sa mizi, I would use mizi because I'm talking about someone else. Sa mizi aroha ata. That's how I would use that. I wouldn't say sa sizi because my mom is not my name. So I would use sa mizi aroha ata. Sorry. And then here in the blue, Dinish Joshe, we have na mizi. So na is your mom. Okay. So again, talking directly to someone. Na, again, you're talking about someone else. Mizi. And I will show on the next slide how this all kind of pieces together. So na is your mom. So I would say na, if I'm talking to Ben, I'm just going to keep using Ben as my reference. Na mizi Claire ata. So I'm telling him your mom's name is Claire. That's how I would use that. Na mizi. If I wanted to use ma, which is somebody's mom, I would say, for example, if Ellison's in the room with me, and I'm talking about Ellison to all of you, ma mizi, okay? I would use her mom's name is, and finish it with ata. Good job? So I just want to touch on this a little bit. Automatically, I do know that, we kind of automatically think in English. We think of the alphabets in English, the sounds in English. So if I were to give this to say someone like my son, Siza, and I would just say, read this to me. And he's seen this for mom, he would probably read it like so or su, nu, mu. And that's actually not the case. So that's why it's really important to practice on our Tsúut'ínà sounds, is because it's not the same as English. They are different sounds. So again, the standalone ina. So if you think of ina and you go here, sa, na, ma, and that's how you would use those sounds for mom. Okay, we're gonna move over and we're gonna talk about right here, ita. We are going to talk about dad. Again, this is the standalone. If we go over, we are now being very specific on who we are talking about. Again, the red, talking about myself and my dad. So I would use sita mizi li ada. Sita mizi li ada. So I'm talking about my dad, but I'm using mizi because I'm talking about somebody else. So my dad's name is Lee. Okay. Again, going into the blue, Dinish Joshe, nita mizi, say I'm talking to Ben, nita mizi Louis ata. I'm telling Ben, your dad's name is Louis. So there you see, nita mizi Louis ata. And that's how you would piece those two together. Okay, so if I were talking about, say, my dad's dad, or cha, if I were to talk about who's in the class here, say if I were to talk about Jessica's dad, I would use nita mizi John ata, and that's how I would use the green there, the mita. Is there a question, Ben?
Yes, Ralph has a question.
So in grammar, in English grammar, like to make a sentence, you need a verb and a noun, like my dad cried. So that's a sentence. But in Tsúut'ínà grammar, is this grammar or is this, what exactly is when you're saying those words, they're not really a sentence in English.
It is,
It is.
it is a sentence. It's in that.
Well, then where's the verb? What's the noun?
We don't have verb. It's all right inclusive in the whole nita.
Well,
Yeah.
verb is an action word, it describes it, and noun is a person, place, or thing.
Yeah.
So, it's not clear,
Because you're
exact.
thinking in English.
But how else am I supposed to do it?
Throw the English out of your head.
Yeah, they're trying to teach it. Yes. These guys.
Yes.
Precious.
Let me see if I can answer this.
Is there such a grammar? Is that what we're trying to learn here?
Yes. So you have to understand that English grammar and Tsúut'ínà grammar are not the same thing.
Yeah.
And it is, if you think about how we learn grammar in English, we necessarily don't even talk about grammar. So when someone learns grammar in English, they just learn it within their heads and they just know that noun goes here, the verb goes here. But you're not telling a toddler that, right? You're not like explaining that to them. So when you think about learning a language, you have to approach it the same way. You're rewiring your brain. And that's why it can be difficult at times.
Well, first I went to school, it's really get yelled at for not doing English right, grammar, for all the years, and now we have to do, we're kind of getting traumatized to try to learn something new. Because we have to really, because we're traumatized, the language, we've been traumatized, it's such in the language.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, we're traumatized.
Magunya Shah.
Violating all this stuff. Anyway, I don't want to take it away.
Yeah, so I understand how hard it is and what comes up when these things happen.
Just the way she's doing it, it has to be a little slower.
A little slower. Okay,
She has gone pretty fast.
so just to slow down a bit.
Okay. Good job.
That's about. Okay, see you guys.
So I just
See you
want
guys,
to-
Ralph.
And I just want to kind of add on to that conversation a little bit that this is kind of designed for beginner learners. Like I said, I kind of expertise in working with small kids. So I just kind of try to utilize what I know has worked for myself and for my students. And I just feel that this is very beginner friendly. I think that the bigger questions about grammar and all of that is a little bit further along. And I do know there are a lot of questions. I don't always have the answers. I don't claim to know much of the answers, but I do know that when we start talking about linguistically and talking about the grammar of Tsúut'ínà, that is kind of further down the road that I hope we kind of touch base on eventually. Okay, so that's just a side note for all of this. I do recognize also that I might be going a little fast, and I apologize for that. I was just under, I guess, the assumption that we've kind of gone into this content last week and the starting of this week. So it's just kind of just trying to get the gears familiarized with lessons that have already been taught and kind of building upon them. But I will slow down for future lessons. Again, if I'm going too fast, I apologize. I didn't realize that this would have been so much. So yeah. So we're just gonna carry on here. Oops, sorry, I'm just gonna grab my screen here. So if we go back to the very beginning, we want to go kind of reiterate about me, you, him, or her. Again, color coding it, the red, the blue, and the green. So that's kind of why I had mentioned if you wanted to take a picture with your cell phone, you're more than welcome. If you're not really used to, if you don't like looking at your emails, because personally, I don't really like looking at emails. I like to just see it on my phone where it's just easy access and I can go back and forth. Okay, so se was me in the red, Ne, you is in the blue. And me, him, her, it is in the green. We then moved on to the family tree because this was introduced last week, which was mom and dad. Ina was the standalone, just means mom. Ita was the standalone, just means dad. When we go into here, because this was already all introduced, that's kind of why I designed it like this. So we did practice the size, nize, mize. Again, I did color code it just so we can visually remember it, I guess. Again, we'll send it out, but taking a picture is probably, it would give you faster access to it. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our short exercise here. I don't want to take up too much time because I know Jessica does have a lot of content she would also like to cover in regard for Ikladze tomorrow. Okay, so here we go. We are just gonna go back and forth, and it's just three questions, 3 responses. Okay, so if I go to, we've heard this all last week and even yesterday and even today. Can anyone tell me what this first speech bubble says?
What is your name?
Now Tsúut'ínà Gunaha, can you tell me in Tsúut'ínà what it says? Gujaka. So Nizid did at. What is your name? Again, there's the blue. Nizid, I'm talking about you. What is your name? Could anyone tell me what the response would be over here to the right in the red?
Size Karisha Ata.
Gujaka. So Nizid did at. What is your name? Size. Well, you use Karisha, but Size Karisha at. My name is Karisha. So if we kind of think about it like logically as well, the answer, if anyone asks you like, what is your name? Even in English, you would answer like, oh, my name is so-and-so. Okay, so that's kind of how you can correlate that if you need that. In here we have the blue again. So again, going back, the blue here, we're talking about your mom, na. And if I went here, na mize did at. Does anyone know what I asked?
What is your mom's name?
What is your mom's name? And so if I'm asking you, Cheryl, I'm just gonna go really specific because now we're talking about singulars. So I'm gonna go, Cheryl, na mize did at. Cheryl, how would you respond to that question?
Sa mitse Darlene ata.
Sieskas. So there she used the red. If we go back, red, she's talking about my mom. My mom's name is Darlene Ata. Okay, let's go. So I've heard from Karisha, I've heard from Cheryl, and let's see if anyone else can guess what this last question is asking.
What is your dad's name?
What is your dad's name? Owa Carlin, can you tell me how to say that in Tsúut'ínà Gunaha?
Nita mize dita ata.
Guja and Carlin, since you're on the mic right now, I'm going to ask you, Carlin, nita mize did at.
Sita mize tad ata.
Sieskas. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is Jessica's going to break us into our breakout rooms again. Jessica, if me and you can be in opposite rooms, that way we can screen share the same activity. And we're just gonna practice this and we're just gonna kind of give it a go and see how well we can or how far we can get with this activity.
Sure, I'm just gonna move you. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
How long should we time this?
Good.
5 minutes? Okay. So when the class, when the breakout rooms session starts, we'll give them 5 minutes to complete the session. And then Jessica, in 5 minutes, we'll just close the session. We'll try and get as much students done before the session ends.
Good job, Nene. All right. Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, good. So 5 minutes.
Okay, it's gonna say good job. I'm just gonna pull up the screen really quick and then we'll get started. Okay, can everyone see that on the screen? Okay.
Jessica,
Yeah.
can you explain the Niza de ta, what did that means again?
So Nize means like you. The ni ni is you. So Nize, what is your, or so like dit is like what? So what is your name? So ni is you. Nize is your name. Dit what, and then is what is your name? And then so size would be my name.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Frida, since you're already on the microphone, nize dit
Zize Frida ata.
na mize dit
What? Are we going through all three of them?
Yeah. So
Okay.
na is your mom. And then
Okay.
Mize is her name. Or yeah, so what is your mom's name?
Okay, Sa Mize Myrtle ata.
And then Nata Mize dit So what is your father's name or your dad's name?
Sita Mize Walter ata.
Gajaka. Frida, Middiskid, Carlin.
Okay, Niza de ta ata.
Dize Carlin at
Okay, na. Oh wait, is that right? Na.
Yeah.
Mize de ta ata.
Saw Mize Yolanda at
Nita Mize de ta ata.
Sita Mize Todd at
Ciegas. I can never say that.
Siestas. Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah, and I just wanted to like also mention too, it's when like in Tsúut'ínà culture, when you're introducing yourself, it's really important to also introduce your mother and father because that's how, you know, a lot of First Nations communities, including Tsúut'ínà, identify with other people as like to their kinship. And then like so it's like, you know, I don't know if you guys noticed, like, but a lot of elders will ask, like, you know, who's your mom? Who's your dad? Because once you mention their names, they're like, they can, you know, put a you know, a connection to that yourself in like when you're introducing yourself, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to like, you know, add that as well. Okay, and then so Carlin, Middiskid, Bronson.
Bronson Nize Dita at
This is Bronson ata.
Na Mize Dita at
Sa Mize Kamel ata.
Nita Mize Dita at
Sita Mize Paul ata.
Sieskas.
Jaka. Bronson, Middiskid, Cali.
Mize Dita ata.
Sizik Kali Bikro Ata.
Na Mize Dita ata.
Sa Mrs. Serena Bikro Ata.
Nita Mize Dita ata.
Sita Mrs. Ralph Weasel Fat Ata.
Siaskas.
Siaskas.
Chapta, Cali, Midiskid, Dixie.
Nizi Dia Ata.
Size Dixie Ata.
Na Mizi Dia Ata.
So Marlene. Wait, did I say that? Wait.
Mize, Marley.
So Mize Marlene Ata.
Nito Mata. Mizi Dia Ata.
Dixie, are you there?
You're breaking up. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Hello? Oh,
Am I good?
yeah. Dita Mize Paul Thunderchild Ata.
Siaskas.
Siaskas, Dixie, Midiskid, Fayan.
Yeah, Nize Dita Ata.
Size Fayan Ata.
No Mize Dita Ata.
Sa Mize Nora Big Boom Ata.
Nita Mize Dita Ata.
Sita Mize Michael Crow Chief Ata. Siaskas.
Siaskas.
Kajaka, I think that's it. So quickly, Fayan, Sid, Diskid, ask me.
Niza Dita Ata.
This is Jessica, one spot, Whitney,
Na Mize Dita Ata.
Saw Mize, Cheryl, one spot, Whitney,
Nita Mize Dita Ata.
Sita, Mize, John, one spot, Whitney, See you, Gus.
Siaskas.
Okay, I'll see you guys in the other room. Sorry, I hope all of your guys' group, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. All of the people in your group had a chance to have a turn. I didn't realize until after I pressed the close breakout room that I wasn't sure if you guys had that chance to, each have a turn.
My power actually went out twice.
Oh no.
We
I-
can,
I think part we got through majority.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can always add it to the next conversation review.
Okay.
And we'll make sure to get everybody done that time.
Okay.
So see us guys for doing the breakout rooms. So we're just gonna go back here really quick and then I'm gonna hand it off to Jessica. So today's lessons, we just did the se, ne, and me. So se, me, ne, you, me, him, her, it. We didn't introduce anything new. This was kind of all material that we've done last week and hikago yesterday. So family tree, sinne, you're talking about myself. This is my family tree. We have our standalone for mom, which is ina, and our standalone for dad, which is ita. So remember, we didn't add anything new. We're just going based off what we started already. The only thing that I kind of did today was introduce the color coding and really specifying on who we're talking about. So if you wanted to take a picture of this, you're more than welcome. If not, myself, Ben, or Jessica will send this out just as a resource to have in your emails. And then we just went into conversation. So we kind of challenged ourselves a bit in our group. So I didn't add it in, but we used danit ada and we used niniga. So you can use those if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to kind of, kind of take that extra step to go ahead and do that, you're more than welcome because that is something that we learned last week, owa hikago. Is there any questions for this portion of the language lesson before I hand it off? Cha? Okay. Well, if you have any, go ahead.
Oh, welcome. I know. Just has to learn to slow down.
All right.
Okay, so I think the feedback that I got was just to slow down. And again, I apologize for that today. I was just kind of going based off what we were learning last week, but I will recognize that for next time.
Even your normal speech, slow it down.
Even in my normal speech, slow it down. Okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
the elders had a hard time keeping up with your fast pace.
Okay.
So that was it.
I will also take note of that. I think for myself, I'm just kind of really, I gotta retrain myself. I do work just with small kids and you know that you have to really get their attention in like the first 2 minutes or else they're gone and you will not hear from them and they will not hear from you. So, but Sieskas Issa, I will take that into consideration for future lessons.
Oh, yes, Ralph has a question.
The glottal symbol, is that consistent with each time? Are you using it like the glottal T, like Tsúut'ínà? Is that always being used in the up top? I know you're using it, that glottal symbol in linguistics, that question mark.
Oh, the question mark, so
Yeah,
the glottal stop.
Glottal stop, there's a glottal stop and a glottal T.
So that is a ejected T. So,
Because that symbol is appeared, you're using that symbol.
yeah,
You're using that symbol.
I wish I had a whiteboard.
It's okay, everything.
Sure, I'll come to you. I can write it out on the paper and it'll make more sense. I'm just gonna answer his question. Jessica, you can take over.
Okay. Sieskas and Sieskas Nidan. Yeah, I have the same issue with like talking a little too fast sometimes just because I feel like I yeah, really have a lot of information that I want to try and share as soon as possible. But yeah, recognize I just need to take my time, but good job. And yeah, I appreciate your lesson. So yeah, Kladze Tsúut'ínà Zinisa. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to, just considering the time, I kind of wanted to introduce Tsúut'ínà history and then kind of lead into Tsúut'ínà Zinisa, but just to be mindful of the time, maybe what we'll do is just discuss, oh my gosh, sorry, the Tsúut'ínà Day tomorrow, and then, sorry, Chua, just trying to share my screen. And then what we'll do for next week is I'll kind of introduce Tsúut'ínà history. While I'm just pulling up the PowerPoint, does anyone kind of want to share what they understand Tsúut'ínà Day is tomorrow? What is Tsúut'ínà Day? Why is it so significant? Yeah, does anyone want to share anything? Cha? Okay, so can everyone see the slide on my screen?
Uh,
Okay,
Yes.
yes, guys. Okay, so Tsúut'ínà Zinasa is on Iaza Chat. Click so Tsúut'ínà Day is always on May 1st. It's always been celebrated on May 1st. And the reason for that is because the Tsúut'ínà always kind of considered May 1st the kind of like the turning of spring. There's a really nice quote that late Isaw Freddie Eagletail said, which is mentioned in a news article that I'll also be showing to you guys. May 1st was chosen because years passed during the moon month of May. Sorry, I just want to make this the full screen, Chua. Yeah, May 1st was chosen because years passed during the moon month of May. Tsúut'ínà people traditionally thanked the Great Spirit that they had made it through the cold winter season to meet spring again. The holiday will revive a tradition of the Tsúut'ínà people of thanking the Great Spirit for the passing of winter. So yeah, that's what essentially why we celebrate Tsúut'ínà Day on May 1st.
Jessica.
Yep.
Sylvia Marie had something to add to that.
Okay, good.
Can you hear her?
It was Harley Crowchild when he worked in the museum, the cultural director, way back when he came to chief and council and say, Tsúut'ínà Day is the day we should be celebrating.
Okay.
This is the way to undo decolonization. We're colonized. And we don't need to follow the colonized people of Halloween and Easter, Christmas. This is what Tsúut'ínà always celebrated. We didn't go all out of town to celebrate Christmas or any other day. And that's what Tsúut'ínà Day was when Harley introduced it to chief and council back in the day. I can't remember what year he was working as the cultural director.
Okay, that's good information to know. I'm just making note of that to like add to my notes for future lessons. He was
We're taking too much time using colonization ideas.
Yeah.
Especially for Christmas and even rodeo. They take too much time for rodeo. Cowboy Stampede. It's just, we're celebrating the colonization people's days. And we're not recognizing our day.
Yeah, Sieskas Isu. That's very true. And there's actually a news article that where this quote comes from, where like actually kind of, emphasizes the importance of like Tsúut'ínà children that were in school of taking the day off to, really commemorate that day as a Tsúut'ínà member. which I will show you guys in a few minutes. And then I was also provided with another little memorandum from like the museum archives as well that kind of types up the significance of Tsúut'ínà Day that I will also show you guys. Yeah, and I also wanted to mention, sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth here, that I wanted to make sure I give you some, like, set some time aside before the end of class to show you guys my example of the assignment that's due this Thursday, just so you guys have a better idea of what's expected when you submit it. But yeah, going back to this topic. So yeah, a lot of people actually confuse Tsúut'ínà Day with the 1883 Treaty 7 adhesion. So what that was, or in like more layman terms, I guess, is like everyone remembers that like what Bullhead did and worked tirelessly to advocate for us to have like for us to choose our own placement for our reserve. So in those stories, and like what he did is he had scouts kind of search out land where we could kind of consider our homes and reserve going forward. We were originally placed closer to Siksika, but yeah, he wanted to make sure that Bullhead really wanted to make sure that he, you know, we had a right and say in where we were going to be like settled going forward for future generations. So scouts laid out logs in like the area of where we now reside in Tsúut'ínà. And then what he did is he got community members to place rocks in a pile to commemorate that kind of moment, and you know, signify like that, you know, significant moments in our lives of us being able to choose our placement for our reserve, essentially, I guess. And so yeah, there's a lot of confusion between that event and the day of like Tsúut'ínà Day, and like, so that event actually didn't happen on May 1st, but we still kind of commemorate it on May 1st, just to like celebrate us as Tsúut'ínà people. And then yeah, we still have that event yearly on Tsúut'ínà Day as well, where people place rocks on the monument just to, yeah, again, celebrate Tsúut'ínà Dinate. Oh my gosh, my tongue. Dinate. Yeah, again, it signifies the end of Zask'a and the beginning of Hadaguzit Day. And it's a time where essential decisions are made with the coming of spring, and yeah, lots of feasts and feeding of the people. And I just wanted to, oops, sorry, show you something. So this news article is actually on the Tsúut'ínà Nation website, where this quote from Freddie comes from. So there's this timeline here that kind of shows significant moments in time for Tsúut'ínà people and what's kind of happened. I'll go elaborate, like I'll go through it more thoroughly next week, just yeah, because we're kind of short on time for today. But sorry, I'm just going to find the article here. So yeah, you can find it on the Tsúut'ínà Nation website. I don't know if I can enlarge this, but here we go. So I'll read it out to you guys. So May 1st has been designated a school holiday, at least for Sarsi Indian children. That was the message sent to the Federal Indian Affairs Minister, Hugh Faulkner, by the Sarsi Band Council Tuesday. The letter stated, the Chief and Council of the Sarsi Indian Tribe Reservation 145, located on the west outskirts of Calgary, would like to inform other Indian tribes, the general public, schools, and different government levels that we are officially calling May 1st Sarsi Tsúut'ínà Indian holiday. The decision as to why May 1st was chosen is because in years past, during the moon month of May, sorry, excuse me, Sarsi people traditionally thank the Great Spirit that they made it through the cold winter season to meet spring again. The thunderbird to the Indian is heard during May, and the land changes from a dead brown to green again. During the time, important decisions and plans were made for the forthcoming seasons, and a feast was celebrated by all Sarsi people. We are the people born on this land and hope other nationalities respect May 1st, the day we have designated as a holiday for our people. The letter was signed by Chief Clifford Big Plume and 5 councillors. As yet, there has been no comment from either school or government officials, but more than 200 school children would be affected. So yeah, that's just kind of demonstrates what Isu Vera Marie was talking about in terms of, you know, we as Tsúut'ínà people are recognizing our own holiday, and not following the usual colonized holidays that usually come within the year. Yeah, any comments or questions? Cha? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I also wanted to apologize. I think I'm getting a cold, so my brain feels a little muddled today. And my throat feels kind of dry. So yeah, my apologies, and I'm trying my best here. But yeah, just going back to, yeah, so that's the significance of Tsúut'ínà Day. And then there's also, sorry, I'm just trying to pull this up here. So this is in the museum archives, and it was typed up by our current museum and culture director, Jeanette Starlight, back in 1998. I don't know if I can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to read this out to you as well. So upon reviewing the museum's archival newspaper clippings, I came across a statement made by former Chief Clifford Big Plume and supported by former Councillor Fred Eagletail. In their statements to the press on April 28, 1978, it states the decisions as to why May 1st was chosen is because in years past, during the moon month of May, Sarsi people traditionally thanked the Great Spirit that they had made it through again the cold winter season to meet spring again. The thunderbird to the Indian is heard during the May, and the land changes from a dead brown to green again. Former Councillor Fred Eagletail states the holiday will revive a tradition of the Sarsi tribe of thanking the Great Spirit for the passing of winter. Eagletail said the holiday will include sports events for reserve children and a feast of pemmican, smoked meat, and bannock prepared by elders. At this time, I would like to thank our traditional elders for passing on the spirit and intent of Native culture so that today's generation and our future generations can learn to understand and respect the animal nation, bird nation, tree nation, stone nation, wind nation, sky nation, star nation, and two-legged nation, and Mother Earth. So to continue this tradition, and with the help of numerous managers and individual nation members, we are putting together an activity day program. I hope you and family members will come and share your time in Thanksgiving to the Great Spirit. So yeah, this is just like another example of like the creating of like events and activities for the day. And so yeah, just to kind of go back on at the beginning of the lesson, yeah, this Tsúut'ínà Day wasn't really recognized or formally instated until 1978. And yeah, in working with outside jurisdictions as well, to ensure that Tsúut'ínà Day is recognized as a formal holiday with other schools outside of the reserve. But yeah, any other questions or comments? Cha? Wow, this is a quiet group. I thought there would be like a lot more input for this discussion, but yeah, no, I'm hoping you're enjoying like oh, there's a chat. Discuss. So maybe, yeah, I thought there would be a little more of a discussion around this topic, or like just sharing of like their personal experiences with the holiday. What I'll do is I will the rock cairn. So that's the rock monument. Sorry, I forgot to mention to you guys, if you guys don't know where that is, the rock monument is actually located at the museum. If you've never been. And yeah, that's what kind of Bullhead had asked his community to do once the Tsúut'ínà people established their choice of where they want to be placed for a reserve. So yeah, again, he had Tsúut'ínà people each like place a rock of their own, or like that they've picked, and then go place it in that rock pile, just to kind of signify the establishment of their reserve, based on their own decision making. Any other questions?
They're recognized by the Prime Minister of Canada.
The
Tsúut'ínà Day
Tsúut'ínà
is
Day.
recognized by the feds.
Well, I don't know if we actually had a comment. I know on the newspaper, it said that there was no comment from the federal government or municipalities about it or something like that. I know there is a letter in the news article. It said that the chief and council sent a letter. But we can probably try and look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I know the museum definitely has a lot more information in the archives. It's just a matter of like, yeah, I kind of requested last minute to have these resources picked out, but yeah, the museum definitely just has more. The staff just need more time to kind of go through the archives to find what there is available.
I'd like to say something about that new lands we have. And
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
we signed the treaty in 1877, but we never settled by Siksika. We roamed around from Edmonton to Fort McLeod and Turner Valley. And in weather like this, we were always starving, looking for food. So our ancestors suffered to get this land from us, for us. And then by stroke of the pen, we just gave it away. That really bothers me. These young people have to realize it was their ancestors that starved and suffered for this land. And for 6 years, they starved and suffered and wandered till they decided. RCMP got tired of pushing them back to Siksika. And Bullhead, thank goodness for Bullhead, they will not settle by Siksika. If not, we would have lost the language a lot faster. And now I really appreciate you young people trying to keep our language alive. So that's my comment. This land is very important. Do not sell anymore for a few dollars.
Yeah, I think Takije Isnachila, Chief Bullhead, like really is a highly revered, probably the most like highly revered leader for our community, and probably a lot of other communities too, just for his like, you know, big advocacy and like tireless efforts of fighting for what he did, because he always considered future generations in the back of his head. And yeah, so it's good to take that time to really, you know, remind ourselves of the hard work he and our ancestors did. And to remember that and acknowledge that and appreciate that. So Siaskas Isu for those words.
Siaskas Ite. Carlin, did you want to ask something?
So all of my questions are on the rock pile. So I grew up in Tsúut'ínà, but I wasn't on the ban list until like 2 years ago. So who is allowed to add to the pile? Is it our leadership or is it all of us?
All of us, any of our community members. Actually, tomorrow, like I think every Tsúut'ínà day, like we've been doing this for the past few years. I think it mentions on the poster I sent out yesterday. Sorry, I'm just gonna stop sharing for a second so I can pull that poster up. Tomorrow, I think there's actually that walk. Community members are able to take a rock to that pile. So I'm just gonna double check and pull up that poster. But if anyone else wants to, add on to my answer, or
Yeah, I could add on to that. So as many of us may know, and for those that don't know, we were really on the brink. And what I mean by that is in the thesis of the Tsúut'ínà Nation back at that time, when we were first made the treaties, was about 150 people, Tsúut'ínà members. And when we got this land, that's how much rocks were put into the rock pile when Chilla first started the ceremony. And what he wanted was each generation would be putting a new rock or be putting their rock with the rock pile to represent the growth of the Tsúut'ínà Nation. So when he started the pile, it was just 150 people. And then when you look at the pile now, it's this big pile of rocks, which represents all the Tsúut'ínà Nation from the past generations to now. In terms of who can put a rock on, if you're Tsúut'ínà, you can put a rock on the pile. And it's always supposed to be like that. And May 1st is when they do the rock, they call it the rock ceremony or rock Karen. So, but they are doing a ceremony tomorrow. The pipe ceremony starts at 7:30. And then you can put your rock on the pile. Eclatse at the museum, behind the museum.
Ben.
What's up, Sita?
So for Sydney, for me, even though that I wasn't on the ban list, I still did the same protocol, smudged, did the prayer, had the rock, still placed it down. So even if you're still making that respect and showing that you are part of the nation, I still did it even without being a nation member.
yeah, I think sorry to add on, Allison, that whole idea of like that's such a colonial frame of mind to be considered like a nation member in terms of like, paper, like on being like the actual ban list and stuff. That's you've always been like a nation member, right? And same with yourself, Carlin. Sorry, I kind of interrupted.
I'm just really emotional now because I'm really happy that I can go and add a rock now as a Tsúut'ínà woman. So thank you guys for answering my questions.
See you, Gus.
See you, Gus, Karen.
But yeah, here's the poster for tomorrow's event. So yeah, there's a pipe ceremony at 7:30 and a spring rock count by the rock cairn, or so like monument, behind the museum. And then new additions to the rock cairn will be made 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then yeah, again, reminder that lunch and celebrations will be at the Grey Eagle afterwards at 11 for the rest of the day.
Also, another reminder, it's gonna snow again.
Ooh, really?
So dress for the weather. Just a reminder.
Oh man, I'm like I'm supposed to like move home next year, and this whole snow situation is really making it not. I'm not excited to move back to Alberta. But
But
anyways, sorry.
We want you home.
Can't everyone just move out here? Just kidding. But yeah, anyway, sorry to get off topic again. Are there any more questions, comments? Cha? Okay, so there's about 18 minutes left. So yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of like go through this timeline a little bit more. And then also in terms of the Tsúut'ínà history topic, we have a creation story. And I emailed that out to you guys last week for you to review on your own time. And I was hoping to, yeah, again, like just have an open discussion about it last week after I shared it to you guys. And then this week, but just for the sake of time and the schedule going forward, I'll save that for next week, because we're gonna like kind of break that story up into different parts, and actually not review it all within one lesson. And then yeah, kind of just like have a discussion, a leading discussion each time and each lesson going forward. But yeah, in terms of like kind of reviewing other Tsúut'ínà history after our creation on this earth, or this Niskagulaga, yeah, these are like a series of events that happened for Tsúut'ínà people, thousands and thousands, beginning like this timeline starts like even like thousands and thousands of years ago. So the Paleo Indian stage, fluted points dated back to 9570 BP, so before present, were discovered by Sibbald Creek close to Calgary, Alberta.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, nope. Sorry. My bad. Oh man. Okay. Sure. My bad. Here we go. All right, there we go. Okay, can everyone see that? So yeah, Paleo Indian stage. This is the fluted point that was found by Sibbald Creek, which is close to Calgary. And this dates back to 9570, as mentioned, before present. And then, yeah, between 1627 to 1640, big significant event that we discussed last week was the separation of the Beaver tribe between North and South. Man, I can't talk today. And then, yeah, another big event back in the day, Tsúut'ínà warriors go to Muddy Waters, Mississippi River to steal horses. Cut Knife dies in Saskatchewan. Daisy Otter moves camps to flee the smallpox epidemic, leaving teepees and deceased relatives behind. Moves the people from Fort McLeod to Fort Edmonton in search of food. And then, yeah, we had it. So I'll elaborate more on this when it comes time to discussing treaties near the end of the course. So a treaty was signed, signing the Cree to the south of the Peace River and the Daneza to the north. And then, yeah, again, Treaty 7 is entered into a peace and friendship treaty in 1877. This is when we also signed the treaty, and we're like briefly placed, yeah, again, near the Siksika Reserve. The other nations that also signed was the Blackfoot Confederacy, so Kainai, Siksika, Piikani, Stoney Nakoda, so the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and the Wesley. And then what I mentioned today, that we like is a big significant moment in our time, was the 1883 adhesion. So adhesion means just like addition, or like pretty much an amendment to the treaty, of like our changes of where we were placed in terms of reserve. Yeah, so whereby the commissioner agreed to Chief Bullhead's stance of our location on the reserve. And then, yeah, there's a pass system that was put in place. So not, if you guys aren't familiar with what the pass system was, Indigenous people required a pass from the Indian agent in order to leave the reserve, like outlining specifics too, like where they're going, for how long. So this was for any sort of visit off reserve, which is just like a really, really frustrating moment in history, on top of many, which we'll kind of go through some more along the way with the course and discussion with like treaty topics and stuff. The first residential school opens on our reserve, which was a day school, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Isu Marie. So the first nation members to be forced into residential school were David Crowchild, Daisy Otter, Katie Crowchild, Alice Crowchild, Harold Crowchild, and Hilda Many Horses. The government was trying to force surrender of more Tsúut'ínà land, and so Chief Bullhead and headmen refused to surrender land to the federal government. Yeah, and this is a very poignant quote that Hakaije Chula said back in the day, and it's kind of like a pretty well-known quote that's mentioned quite a bit still to this day. So Hakaije Chula said, "We are of one mind, not to sell or give up any of our reserves." So we are of one mind. He was always so mindful of, yeah, we are not just one individual, that like, you know, we are a community. We all like make decisions based out of the betterment of the community and future generations. So yeah, just like going forward, like yeah, I can probably go more into this next week, because Thursday's actually going to be a review on the Gunaha portion of the lessons, just for us to like kind of assist you in memorizing what was learned so far, and to practice discussion questions in Gunaha, or the routine questions. Before I go into sharing my example of the assignment that's due on Thursday, does anyone have any questions or comments? And yeah, I think I shared this link with you guys already, but I can share it again. Like, yeah, I keep on forgetting myself actually that the Nation website actually has a lot of information of our history. Yeah, so
Ralph wants to make a comment.
sure.
Yeah, those passes, they're found in the Glenville Museum if you want to see them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, can you believe that? What, a prison? We're kept in prison.
Yeah, it's really sad moment in history.
I just want to make a comment with, I lived in the States quite a few years, and with the Navajo people, and they have a way of greeting like that means hello. But hello was only a word that the white man made because they made the telephone and they were saying, "How do you do?" So in order to cut it down, they said hello. They made so that word's only been around 100 years, maybe hello. But I was thinking like the Navajos, they say especially to audience, that's how they say hello, audience. But I just want to know, are we going to develop a word for hello in the future instead of how do you do? Like is that something that can be done?
It's the word for reading. That means how are you feeling? We don't just say hello. We say how are you feeling? And that's because the language has a soul to it. So you don't want to shorten it to hello.
But that's other tribes have made, the Navajo made a hello. They're a big tribe.
Yeah. And that's their tribe. For the Tsúut'ínà.
Okay, well, I just wanted to just say that I don't know if it has any meaning probably in what we're trying to do here. So, thank you.
Siaskus, Ralph. And Siaskus Isu for answering that for us.
How do you feel? There's no feel. There's no word like that. which is the shortest word for see you. Gujaan is the word for starting a conversation, find out how you really feel.
It's a spiritual language. There's
Mm.
no, English is not, and that's why there's so much confusion.
Yeah.
And it's hard for these English speakers and English thinkers to learn the language. Because it's a
Mhm.
spiritual language. It's not, it hasn't much to do.
Hello, on there.
Huh?
The telephone.
Yeah,
You have to shorten it. So the previous one.
So there is a couple things that I just wanted to comment on that that phenomenon of language. So they call that language change.
Yeah.
So the language changes due to the environment changing. So even the structure of the language will change due to that. So for example, phones. The conversation on the phones are much more different than conversation person to person. So they had to change that conversation as well. For the Navajo people, they have a lot more speakers than us.
30,000.
30,000 speakers. So 10 times.
Yeah,
what-
whatever happened.
Yeah. So the numbers, they have the numbers there to do that, to have language change.
They have a radio.
Yeah, they have a radio and they also have a community language. So places within their community, along with community members that speak the same language. And kids, adults, elders, all of them speak it. So with that, they have a really good way of getting language change, a healthy language change. So what that means is that the kids developed a way to say hello. The kids or younger adults develop a way to talk on the phones, to talk to their peers. And a lot of times the language shortens, especially Aboriginal language. So Aboriginal language, what will happen in the modern times is that they'll shorten words and their speech will become a lot faster. So up north, the Denisotline, the way that they say, how are you? Danit a. And the way that we say it here is danit ada. We have that extra da at the end.
it's kind of like slang.
So that's an
Some other
example.
languages turn to slang.
Yeah, they call that's what they call that, shortening a
it's
word.
shortened, yeah.
They call it slang.
There's another word that's. Yeah, but I understand what you're talking about. Yeah, because when we did some work with Lucy, gave us a real fast training on those that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so
but
there's
there is language change.
so there's two things that happen. With language change, what ends up happening is that you lose a lot of those aspects that make us a culture. So for example, what Issa was saying, long time ago, the elders used to sit down and have conversation, and there was respect that was given for that situation, and the language followed that respect, followed that socializing between those two elders, and everything around that socializing, the respect that went with it, the cultural aspects, and the worldview of the Tsúut'ínà people was in that conversation.
Seems like there's certain, like now,
Yeah.
First thing that's so. What is your plan? So.
Yeah, that's
What plan?
yeah, so that's an example of what we lost. That cultural aspect. Navajo people had the luxury of being able to move forward together and develop a language together, they had kids all in the same room asking the same question. How would you say hello? And the kids, because language change comes from the younger generation. It doesn't come from the older generation. The people who change the language is the younger generation. So there's two things that happen. Yes, you have a healthy language that everyone can speak, but you lose aspects of Aboriginal worldview. For the Navajo people, they're able to keep that clan system, is what you call it. We have unfortunately lost that.
They're worried about their.
And it's because of that language change. The older generation cannot understand the newer generation of speakers. And that's because the newer generation are using a lot of slang and a lot of shortening words, along with new phrases. So like computer and hello. And the younger generation doesn't speak like the older generation.
But the younger generations, they understand each other.
They understand each other.
That they understand, but the older people won't understand them or have a hard time to hear them.
Yeah.
Because just like that girl Jessica, they're talking too fast. They talk fast. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah, even texting.
That's, you know, that's not.
I
No.
know.
Needs to slow down her speech.
The
This
way
is-
it's text. and
That,
write
that's all slang, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all slang.
Short versions of words, yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That comes from the kids.
Does anybody text in Tsúut'ínà? Who texts in Tsúut'ínà? Do you?
Yeah, they do.
Because Heather sent me a text in Tsúut'ínà and I understood it, but I had to really break it apart. And I told her, and I asked her back in English, is this what you're trying to say? She said, yeah. I was just shocked, but I had to really look at it and really dissect it. Yeah, I had to break it down. Yeah.
And that's the way you need to learn the language, when you break it down, when you write it like that.
It's big.
It's hard. You have to really try it.
So another comment I want to make, that all Aboriginal language in North America are dealing with the exact same problems. The spelling, the worldview of English and Aboriginal languages, and the generational gap between young people and old people.
And the loss of sounds.
Yeah, because we're not the only ones that were colonized. Yeah, all around the world.
All around the world, they're dealing with the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
so that's fallout taken colonization. Yeah.
For Tsúut'ínà, it was accelerated for us because of how isolated we were. So those are just a couple of comments on the whole situation that Tsúut'ínà faces, along with the situation that a lot of Aboriginal countries face as well. But I believe we're running short on time, are we?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to share this example really quick because we don't have class tomorrow, and then Thursday's the due date for this. I did a written summary of my opening reflection. It's a 1-page summary. Interesting conversation, by the way. I wish we could had more time to discuss it, but so I will read this to you guys just to demonstrate what questions or answers we're looking for in terms of our questions. So the questions are, what are the challenges you experience when learning Tsúut'ínà, Gunaha, what is one goal that you would like to set for yourself during this course? So I'll read this quick 1-page summary to you guys. So since I was a child, I was always so interested and eager to learn more of my Tsúut'ínà language and culture. I remember I would find an old copy of my dad's Tsúut'ínà dictionary in his closet, and I would used to sit there for hours trying to decipher on my own how to read and speak the words that were written out on the page. I would ask my dad to help me with reading out the words, and he would try his best to help me where he could, but even then he would not always have the answers for me, which is something he always would regret not learning as well. There have been a few challenges I have come across during my learning journey with Gunaha o Ninisha. I'm sure, like many, my lack of exposure was just one contributing factor to the challenges faced when trying to learn a new language. This also influenced my confidence in learning the language. I did struggle and continue to struggle with the idea that I will be negatively criticized with how I speak the language. And I understand that in order for me to learn the language, I must practice speaking it. I now know that I will not be judged by my community members and elders for trying to learn the language. And in fact, I receive a lot of encouragement and overwhelming support during the process. However, the negativity in my self-consciousness still tries to win at times. Because of the minor lisp, I feel like I always struggle with making the correct sounds when speaking Tsúut'ínà, especially with words that contain a T and S together. For example, nisse. I also struggle with speaking the correct tone in Tsúut'ínà, and having the proper tone is crucial when speaking Tsúut'ínà because it is considered a tonal language. My goal is to practice Tsúut'ínà tones and sounds regularly outside of the classroom in front of a mirror, so that I can speak Tsúut'ínà accurately by the end of the course. Learning is a lifelong journey, and I will continually set goals for myself during this journey of learning Gunaha. So that is just an example of a written summary. Again, you can also send us a video of your reflection as well, and the video should be about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes in length. So again, this summary answers the question of what challenges do I face? So that kind of negative self-consciousness and like self-criticism I face. And then also my goal is to practice the tone of Tsúut'ínà. Cheryl, you have your hand raised?
Who do we submit to?
Either myself or Ben.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Or see it's Gus.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, you have a question.
Sorry about this, people, but I find that there's a lot of pressure to speak even and rush through the lesson. And when you pressurize, there's a lot of anxiety. I sense there's a lot of anxiety in the air, you know, about how people are talking and how we're supposed to respond. And I think there's a lot of, I think we went through a lot of abuse as Tsúut'ínà people in outside, inside, and so I just want to stress that we need to slow down and we need to learn it a certain way, but don't always be so pressured to speak. It's just, you know, pressure, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of where we're all trying to cope at the same time to learn the language. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yes, Gus.
The weather didn't help today either.
Any more questions or comments?
Like, I want to say something. When we talk about time is a construct. And us Indigenous people, we do the best we can in whatever amount of, like, from when we start to when we finish. And you keep mentioning about time this, time that, time this other thing. That's a real colonial thinking. So you gotta kind of step away from that.
Yeah.
And also at Tsúut'ínà Day, there's elders here that are familiar with and you're just relying on the written text. You know, that's a colonial practice too. But the Tsúut'ínà people and then are oral people. And there's still people alive that could know about that Tsúut'ínà Day. Like Harley, I'm pretty sure Harley was a director before Jeanette. And so Harley is quite elderly in his years. So if you want to go and talk to him, you're going to have to go to his house. And you're going to have to bring him tobacco and a gift. He carries a pipe too. So these traditional practices are, I don't know how many of the young people know these practices on how we approach our old people. So just as a respect for the elder, I'm pretty sure he worked before Jeanette and for a long time. And I heard what Vera Maria is saying about it, that's kind of like not really the way how Tsúut'ínà Day came about. I kind of agree with her Because I was in the elders meeting where they talked about it and Harley was there. And so I just want to share that with you. If you're the director or if you're the boss, who's ever the director or the boss of this collecting this oral history, you need to go and speak to the elders who are still here. And that's like Harley is one of them. I know that for sure. I know Harley for sure. So just to share that with you, because a lot of this context that we're doing is very colonial. And so we have to be careful. We just finished telling our relative here, Ralph, that the language is a spiritual language. It's not English, and it's got to get that. It's just what people are confused about, because it's a spiritual language. It comes from your spirit and your soul and your being. It's not, you can't pick up a book, no matter how much we write it, you can't just pick it up and start reading it. So it's an oral practice that's done, provided by, some of our old people, they can still speak pretty good Tsúut'ínà, and to try and help with those issues of tone. And, Ben clarified for me some of those little symbols that's on the word. So that was really helpful because I didn't know what those little symbols were that were on some of the words. But I think that some of the staff at Gunaha, they've been there for a long time, so they kind of know. They did this work for a long time, so they kind of know how to present the information, and maybe we need to rely on them a little bit more. I'm just saying, I don't know who you are, Jessica. I don't know who's your parents. I don't know whose book you found to read. And I'm just like, when you're talking about you wanted to Tsúut'ínà or something and you found your dad's book, but I don't know. So it's a common practice when we introduce ourselves, like we're saying all these, like we say our name, Sit-ta, you say your dad's name, Tsúut'ínà, and then you say your mom's name. That's what Ralph is talking about, how the Navajos introduce themselves. And we kind of do that here too, that's what you're teaching. And so like Marie would know. Yeah, and Ben will know, when he tells us his family. And me, I don't know who you are, but I'm sorry I don't, but thank you for letting me speak. That's all.
So I just want to stand up for, because this is a very touchy subject. We young people understand what the old people went through. All of us. And we're not trying to pressure you guys into speaking Tsúut'ínà, but as young people, who else are we supposed to look up to? I've been here with the Tsúut'ínà Gunaha Institute for almost 10 years. And everything that I've learned with the Tsúut'ínà Gunaha Institute has been like pulling teeth. First time I learned about offering tobacco to an elder to get information, I got yelled at and chased out. And this is the experience that a lot of us young people go through. I understand how emotional you guys can get, especially with the shit that you guys went through. Please, give our young people a break. We're doing the best that we can with the hand that was dealt with us. We're all here to save the language. We're not trying to tell you to read Tsúut'ínà. We are desperate as young people to hear as much Tsúut'ínà as we can before we can't anymore. The way that is written, I came into this like that. All of you have been here far more longer than I have. All of these things should have been hashed out 10 years ago. So I get that there's a lot of pressure on all of us. It's not just one person, and we're not trying to pressure you. But we're running short on time. We can bicker all we want about how it's written, how it sounds, but the most important thing here is to speak it.
Ben.
Yes.
Okay, so see you guys. So for those that don't know Jessica, so Jessica is part of our Gunaha team. See you guys, Jessica. She is learning at the same time. We are providing her with many resources as well. So with that, I'm just gonna say it, Akusa. Everybody have a good day. So again, Jessica, see you guys. Those that are learning, see you guys. So with that, right now, since this is a recording, Ako, we need information that's being recorded to the students. So with that, see you guys again. So Jessica, I did send you a PowerPoint if you want to take a look at it. And Jessica, Ms. Cheryl Atta. So Jessica's mom is Cheryl Whitney. She is part of the education. So with that, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So if you guys can enjoy your lunch, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. So see you guys.
See you guys, Allison. And see you guys, Ben. See you guys, Diane, for the feedback.
See you guys, Nehista. So with that, I'll just say a prayer real quick, and then we all can log off. See you guys today, see you guys today, chila. Gwaniskle da nanisha. Tsúut'ínà tataskle. Ayaho nata niskagulaga. Sinajina ayina a. Owa sister dinana gujatina is klingula. Nehinisk a owa nehik gunaha nat sigula. At ayinisin hat anitse iskat. Siiskasite. Natanayasane. Thursday da.
I love you all. Have a good day.
Ninja.
A good day.
Ninja.
Good job, guys.
Ninja.